you know, it was 6 months since you've been on the show.
Okay.
That was 6 months ago. You know what I mean? I've been away for a minute. I had to come back to do the wrap up, and I'm just like, there's no better person to do it than to do it with Royce. You know what I mean? People really was fucking with that last interview, and you dropped a lot of jewels, man. 6 months ago though. So what you been up to?
Let's talk about
since
it.
then?
Let's talk about it.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome to Crooks Corner 2019 special edition. This is the wrap-up show, and I'm sitting here live in Heaven Studios with the legend, Detroit, stand up, my brother, Royce the 5'9". What's up, homie?
My brother, you far too kind, man. Far too kind.
Man, cut it out,
Welcome
man.
to
You're a
my-
legend, man. You know.
Thank you, brother.
We don't
Thank you.
play with these suckers out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you put
Welcome
the
to
work
my
in.
yeah. Welcome to my. This is where
This is what all happens.
I act like a lunatic at. Spend all my time.
Beat making.
Yeah, my wife is like, when you coming home?
Damn.
You know. It's
Why,
like my-
why heaven though? Why'd you name it heaven?
Well, I had another space that I was looking at, and I was maybe 2 days away from closing the deal on the space.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother, Mr. Porter, was like, he texted me and said, God said, don't close on that place. Come look at this place. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So he texted me the address, and I pull up, and I'm at the boxing gym, right? That I work out at. So I'm like, what is this nigga at the boxing gym?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I look like a little bit to the left, and he's standing in front of a door. So it's literally the same building as the boxing gym. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, man, what's going on? So we walk in, and it's like double the space that I was looking at. And it was partially built out. It was a audio post studio. So they did like commercials, voiceovers, and shit like that. So
It was
I
in the books.
only had to put up like a few walls and decorate this and just make it me, my vibe. But the first thing I said when I walked in was like, yo, this shit is like heaven. And I just called it that. Yeah, I was working on the album. I'm not sure where I was at with it. We went through so many different phases, but an album actually ended up happening to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, I was in here, I was working on stuff. Next thing you know, I ended up with like a body of work that I really started to transition from liking shit to loving shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and like
right.
having clay that I could really shape. And things that, started becoming really important to me to say. You know what I mean? And I guess making the transition from just a personal body of work to something, that's a little bit more broad, but still so my perspective that it almost can be, taken as personal.
Right.
It can almost feel like that it's taking place in my brain, you know what I mean? But it's something that people can relate to if they're at a point in life where they're ready for like real information. You know what I mean? Like I'm of the belief that, when you reach a certain age and you reach a certain level of awareness, you got to be open to unlearn some of the shit that you learn.
That's real
in
talk.
order to learn what you need to be able to really elevate.
Deprogramming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you got a lot to say, man. I want to talk about the album a little later, but we was on the way here, and I was bumping that Black Savage.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you had a lot to say on Black Savage, too. What I wanted to ask you is, why the title Black Savage? Like, what's the concept behind that?
I just wanted to take, just the word savage that has the negative connotation attached to it. I wanted to take it and make it positive. Like I think that hip hop paints a lot of pictures, and I think that the reason why people love hip hop so much is that we, a lot of people look at it like certain things are glorified, but I see it like, not like that we're glorifying it, but we're just not pretending like it doesn't exist. You know, like we're putting a black mirror in front of you, we're making you look at the truth.
Right.
You know, and I think that's why people are like taken aback by our culture so much. So I think once we establish that, now it's time to control the narrative a little bit. It's time to add balance there.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, like, it's all relative. It can all be effective, you know. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool to be about your business and about peace. I think it's cool. I think it's I think that's gangster.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to be faithful to your wife. I think it's cool to put your queen on a pedestal. I think it's cool to like to decide you don't want to do drugs no more. You don't want to drink no more in a business like this, and stand alone and not succumb to peer pressure, and give the next generation coming up something else to look up to other than the shit that's killing us as, you know, as black people and shit like that. So
yeah, I ain't your average rapper residing in Calabasas, mashing the Aston through Malagasy and Madagascar. I don't believe in your white Jesus and Last Suppers. I place value on brothers who never had justice.
I think it's cool to take those steps, and I think those kind of people is who they really fear. You know, and
Intelligent, sharp, focused.
Yeah, and willing to share information. You know,
big thing.
By any means necessary, and not afraid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what it is about this art form. Actually, I do understand why artists are afraid, you know, because immediately we come into the game and we put ourselves in positions to where the carrot is getting dangled over our heads.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're making decisions based off of, we just don't want to fuck nothing up, or we don't want to lose this position, you know, that, you know, I guess I could say the oppressor puts you in that position and makes you feel like, yeah, you know, you're welcome.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it takes you a long time, and it took me a long time, and a lot of spiritual awakenings. It's the last thing I can say that I had, to where I had to realize, you know, this is our culture.
Right.
You know, yeah, we behind the 8 ball. We don't have as much ownership as we will have.
Right.
But it's still our culture. You know, like, people with jobs, you know, or people that own shit, you know, like, they can be removed to a degree. You know, it's certain energies that you can possess in this culture where you can't be removed by anybody.
Right.
Under any circumstances. You know, and the only way to be able to apply your true value is to know your true value. And you have to place that on yourself. They're not going to place that on you. You know what I mean? So, what the fuck was I saying? I get scatterbrained around here.
I mean, I think what you just said kind of remind me of something that Bernard Hopkins was saying, or they made a meme or something where he was like, you know your worth, or else somebody else is going to tell you what you're worth. You know what I'm saying? Something to that effect.
Oh,
you
for
know
sure,
what I'm saying?
for sure. That's just business in a nutshell. You know, and they'll tell you anything that they can tell you, you know, to make said worth as low as possible. And it's nothing personal.
Right.
You know, it's just business. That's, you know, that's what investors do. You know what I mean? But we don't have to be so accepting to everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think the more information that we take in, the more effective we can be, and the more frugal we can be, and the more shrewd we could be. I don't think we put ourselves in positions to be so shrewd, you know?
So the Black Savage is like, when I like the video, you know what I'm saying? You know, I was in the cut like the shooter, you know what I mean? The Black Savage is like black excellence.
Yeah.
That's what I felt when I viewed the video. Dope video. You know what I'm saying? I was watching my Raiders lose again, and I heard the song come on. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know what y'all doing, you know, as a team, or organization, and a whole fucking existence to the Raiders. But anyway, they was getting their ass whooped. And I heard the song come on, and I was like, damn. You know, two things I want to know about that. One, how does it feel to be watching football and to be somewhat of a new producer and already have your joint playing on a live game, you know what I mean, for millions to hear?
It's cool. It's cool. It feels good, man. You know, I think I'd be lying if I said I was taken aback by it in any way.
Right.
And that's only because so many hours of just, when you practice so much, it's like you don't really get surprised at the outcome. The outcome is just part of it. You know, like the fulfillment comes in to me. Fulfillment comes in actually completing things. You know what I mean? Like
process,
closing. You know what I'm saying? Like finisher. You know what I mean? Too many ideas get left on the table. You know, and we don't see them all the way through for whatever reason. You know, and that can turn into patterns. You know, like I always tell like the youngins that I mentor around here, like stay clear of notorious meters. Notorious meters.
Yeah.
The worst type of people you want to be around.
Having a bunch of meetings.
About nothing.
About nothing.
About everybody's talking about what everybody's going to do. Nobody's doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I try to stay away from those people, you know, because everybody got an idea. Everybody talking about what they're going to do. You know, everything sounds good, but you gotta execute, you know, like, so I just try not to even be around anybody who, you know, exhibits that kind of behavior because it's contagious. And it's very easy to get complacent and comfortable, you know. And we behind the 8 ball, you know, we don't have time, brother. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have time to be complacent and comfortable.
Right. And that's the mindset that will have you working, practicing, perfecting your craft, and then watching TV and hearing your art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the song itself, Black Savage, was it was inspired by the Revolt Summit. I was watching it, and I was just looking at all of those super intelligent black people just breaking down shit. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, even though, you know, this one was disagreeing with that one, you know, I got my own theories on that, but it's still like everybody was dressed nice, everybody was sober, everybody looked nice. You know, like it's not like what you would just see on TV. You know what I mean? Like people who control the programming, that's not how we're always, the picture that's always painted. So I commend Diddy for that. You know what I mean? Right, and to commend him for it is not just to sit off to the side and do this, but it's to expand on that.
Right.
So I made a video where, you know, we put some intelligent brothers on a song that can rap really well, even though, you know, lyrics are supposed to not be in style.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
everybody smacked the beat around. Shout out T.I.
Yeah.
Shout out my guy Sci-Hi.
And we just, you know, we did what came to us. So it was cool.
So how did the NFL end up being involved with that song?
Kino sent it to my man Jason from Tidal. They were actually, Rock Nation was looking for a song to use to launch the Inspire Change initiative. And that's the whole thing that Hov is doing with the NFL. So I understand they had like some other options on the table and they weren't sure about. So like Kino sent them the song on a whim, just like, yo, I think I may have a song for you, and sent it to them. And they fuck with it. They was like, yo, this is it. Damn. So, you know, it just kind of fell into place like that. No real story behind it. Just.
I mean, that's a story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a story. It landed where it was supposed to land. I mean, since we on this football shit, being interviewed in the Lions Stadium, that's some ill Detroit shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some ill shit right there. To be interviewed damn near on the 50-yard line. You know what I'm saying? and have bars. You know what I mean? I always put that in there because, like you said, you know, sometimes we might feel like the art of rapping, you know, well, is being pushed to the side for trendy shit. So sitting there in your city, you know, on the field of the Detroit Lions Stadium, what does that type of moment mean to you? Like, how does that feel? What does that type of moment, what does that mean? Or does it mean anything to you?
I mean, I'm always honored, you know, I'm always honored to be a part of anything that says, you know, look at hip hop.
Right.
You know, like, we're using that platform. It's not usually a platform that, you know, shines a light on our kind. You know,
right.
Just call a spade a spade. But it should be more telling in terms of like the art. It should be more telling to other MCs or other artists who may feel like lyricism is being pushed to the side because a lot of people probably feel that way. I personally don't.
Okay.
You know, so it's not really telling to me. It should be telling to the people who spreads that. You know what I mean? Because I understand like from a label's perspective why it makes sense to engage that narrative. You know, to make machine records, stream machine records to stream immediately. You know, like to make those it's a easy investment, a quick investment. So that makes total sense. But when you talk about something that's based off art and poetry, there'll never be a time in history where thought-provoking art doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to talk about just being in the limelight, yeah, you may have like, you know, it becomes subjective. It gets fuzzy.
Right.
You know, but I think if you're here to like really express yourself through the art, and it's like in my situation where it's like I'm learning about myself as a man through the art. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm developing as a person by expressing myself through the art. It's a way deeper spiritual thing than just like trying to sell somebody some shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I absolutely understand.
It's a part. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of my growth. You know, so it's really, I have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like I found out that I was a fucking alcoholic through rapping. You know, like I literally like adopted ideologies and a lifestyle that was supposed to kill me, like was designed to kill me. I'm not supposed to be here, you know what I mean? So like I don't sit around and trip about shit like the limelight, you know what I mean? Like the limelight almost fucking killed me. I need to be able to focus on on my art. And I need for that to be able to help the next person. That's what I feel like my job is, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what life is about. It's about finding your place, you know what I mean? Your place is not to come here and get famous. That's not anybody's place.
Right.
Fame is a fucking byproduct of everything that's going on. And then somehow along the line, everything gets tangled with each other, you know what I mean? And that's when you lose yourself. Well, at least that's what happened to me.
Right. And a lot of people.
Yeah, so like just fucking doing an interview at the NFL game. It's just another day at the office, man. No, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It's rock and roll, like you say.
It's rock and roll, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's rock and roll, baby. Hey, man, I was watching that Joe interview that recently came out. You did Joe's show. Was that like the first time you ever did his show? I can't remember. Like, That's the first time? Man,
Very first time.
You being friends with Joe, being friends with Marshall at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, on one hand, you're friends with Joe Budden. On the other hand, you're friends with Eminem. Does the situation, I say situation, whatever people want to call it, the situation between those two, does it ever make you feel awkward in any kind of way? Like, you know what I mean? Because they might be going back and forth, or it might be some shit in the air between them two. But here you are, you're friends with both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really felt awkward, honestly. Maybe a little bit in the beginning, because Joe was being a dickhead in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I felt awkward about. That's the only thing I felt awkward about. And Joe is my friend. I love Joe, So, like, when you got a relationship with somebody that's that dynamic,
right?
Like, and I do this with everybody that I love. I take, the good with the bad, positives outweigh the negatives, then we got something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If it turns into anything else, then I need to make a decision moving forward. But nothing else outside of that fuels that decision. My perspective has always been to just do the right thing. That's what I always do.
Right.
Everything is not always a business decision. Sometimes you just have to do the right thing. You know what I mean? So, like, with Joe, I expressed how I felt about what he said about Marshall. I don't like people talking about my friends, just like I didn't like people talking about him.
Right.
We talked about it, and we had a conversation about it.
Right.
We did a little bit of back and forth, like debating, and then it ended with, "Yo, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and I love you. I didn't mean for it to make you feel like that." Right. And I said, "You know what, brother? I accept your apology." And that's what we have to do as men. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, doing his show, I actually would have felt weird not doing his show, knowing that he was expecting me to do his show.
Right.
He was dependent. And it's like, yo, man, like, if you think about it, like Complex didn't want to give him what he thought he was worth.
Right. I saw that.
And he felt like he knew his worth.
Right.
Even when a lot of people that were probably watching, the everyday struggle, they're probably watching and they was like, shit, man, that shit can be that shit can go on without Joe.
Right.
They were right. It could.
Not in the same fashion.
But so was Joe. He was right, because he went somewhere else and he thrived.
Right.
All because he believed in himself. And that story right there, that exactly what I just explained to you is what needs to be championed in the culture and not swept under the rug. That's not a small thing. That's a big deal, because that's not just a win for him. That's a win for us. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is they notice a trend, and then, they try to repeat it with other black people, brown people. It's more people in position. And that's what we need on our way to ownership. Because at the end of the day, it's our culture. 100% of the revenue generated us. You know what I mean? So that just is what it is. So, just for that token alone, I have to support Joe. You know what I mean? And I can't. I'm not really like. And Marshall's not he's not like that. You know what I'm saying? He's not sitting around like angry all the time like people think, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
He totally chill, you know what I mean? Shit just is what it is. And it's not, if I'm disloyal to this person to be loyal to that person, is that really being loyal? That's not even loyalty. That's like some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even mix me up with that. You know what I mean? So, and it just is what it is. Some things, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? And I don't have a whole lot of time. Like I said, I don't have room in my heart for like hate, holding grudges and shit like that. Like, I'm just not, that's not a part of who I am. You know what I mean? So, and it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. More love.
That's all I got.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't have nothing else, And you get those guys, man. You ever seen one of them niggas that just walk around and be like, yeah, I'm real, I'm solid, I'm real, I'm so solid, I'm real, I'm solid, I'm solid. What up, my nigga? I'm solid, I'm real, I'm solid. You know what I mean? Like, Like, if you got to do that, you know what I mean? Like, you probably not real or solid. And while you at it, get away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I'm not one of those guys that has to, like, come on, man, this is Royce the 5'9". People know what it is with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, we move on to the next topic or whatever that is, whatever the next thing for us to tackle as creators.
I mean, that energy, everything you've been saying so far, it's a lot of jewelry. So I hope that people are like really paying attention, you know what I mean? Especially young guns out there, you know what I mean? You don't got to be an artist to get some jewels, you know what I mean, from the things that you're saying. Can we expect this on the new album, like this type of energy that you on right now, this vibration?
Hell yeah.
Let's talk about Allegory.
Aware. You know, I was watching something and I can't remember who painted this picture, this analogy, but just about being aware. Like, if you put a mouse in a trap with cheese, the mouse would just in a maze with cheese. The mouse would just run through the maze and just get cheese.
Right.
But if you put a mouse in a maze that's aware, the mouse would get cheese, but then eventually that mouse would realize that he's in a maze. Like, I don't want to be in the maze. You know what I mean? So, like, that's my thing. Like, I really need to be able to get to a solution with things. You know, it helps me with my sobriety. I can't hold on to things and shit like that. I just don't deal well like that. You know, like, I'm much better based in finding a solution and moving on from there. You know what I mean? Like, I can make sense of things easy, you know, because I don't have a problem holding myself accountable for things. And I'm equipped to talk to anybody about it. You know what I mean? Right. I'm just equipped. I can talk to anybody. It's not a man walking God's green earth that can ever question anything about me.
Right.
Anything.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, with the new album, I was able to hear some of the joints, you know what I mean? It's definitely thought-provoking material in there, you know? And obviously that's done by design, you know what I mean? Concept behind the name, Allegory.
The allegory, it's allegory is like a kind of story, you know. It's used to bring across views, usually like moral views and shit like that, you know, through story subliminally. You know what I mean? Like, I was vibing off of the allegory of the cave theory by Plato. I was reading that.
Damn.
And it was just about, what I pulled from it is, it was basically just about human programming and just perspective. And you can be programmed to see things a certain way, but that doesn't mean it's reality. You know, like, and if you're born in a cave and you're confined to that cave, you know, and 10 years later I pull you out of that cave, you know, like, your first encounter with just sunlight and everything, it's gonna hurt your eyes. It's gonna hurt you to adapt to reality. And that's even if you're willing to accept this as your reality.
Right.
Because a lot of people would just feel more comfortable going back in the cave.
Right.
You know, and it goes back to what I was saying about not being so accepting. You know, like, we were talking about streaming off camera. And then now the thing with YouTube, where it's just like, you know, now YouTube is going to be a part of record sales as well.
Right.
I just find that interesting that, you know, they just go, hey, how you doing? I'm streaming. We're going to stream your music and this is how much you're going to get. You know what I mean? And then it's telling if you just look at it, because the people that are like, nah, you're going to get their music. You ain't getting my music. Mm-hmm. That's Jay-Z. He's not accepting. Like, we accepted streaming. We didn't agree to streaming. We didn't agree to the 360 deal. We didn't agree to a lot of things.
Right, we accept.
We just accept it because we're told it's standard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, but what the fuck makes it standard? Labels get together and they say, this is standard.
Monopoly. They
Yeah,
got a
but
monopoly
shit,
on it.
what monopoly is it that's more powerful than us?
I think we just got to wake up and see our power.
Well, we're not going to see our power if we keep dividing over everything.
Exactly.
That's why it's important to not divide over everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like certain things, you just got to check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
This is us.
Right.
This is all of us. Not necessarily us versus them,
Yeah.
but they need to know that we're more informed than the generation prior.
Right.
And we're going to make sure that the generation following is more informed than us.
Right.
If it's not going in that direction, then history repeats itself, just like slavery and everything else. You fucked.
A collective mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of individuality in hip hop. Like everybody's for themselves a lot.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
we feel like we're competitors, like we're competing with one another.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they even have things like battle rappers saying it's the battle rap community versus industry rappers. You know what I'm saying? Which in my eyes is another form of divide. You know what I mean? What are your feelings on when they say, oh, it's the battle rappers versus the industry rappers?
It's only the battle rappers versus the industry rappers. When the battle rappers see an opportunity to be heard, you know what I'm saying? It's never a problem any other time. It wasn't a problem when we did Total Slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not separate from us. We're all MCs.
Yeah.
We're all MCs with a different skill set, with a different fan base. Sometimes, you know, we share fan bases.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for the most part, you know, they're masters of what they do. You know what I'm saying? And that's always going to be recognized to the people who are into that.
Right.
You know, so different skill sets calls for different size audiences. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anybody's better than anybody. You know, like that's the Grammys' job to come and say, oh, this is better than that. I give this guy a statue. Now he's the better guy. You know what I'm saying? Or I put this guy on the charts and now he's better. The shit is all opinion based.
Right.
Who's to say what's what? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because the people who haven't won Grammys is an ill crew.
yeah.
That's a cleanup crew right there. You know what I'm saying? Like every time somebody posts the artists who have not received a Grammy, it's always an ill list. And you just like, wow. You know what I mean? But speaking of MCs, skill sets, we got a few brothers, you know, in the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? MCs with a dope skill set, you know, mechanics and all that good shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna switch gears a little bit right now. What are your top 3 Slaughterhouse songs of all time? If you can answer that.
I think I can answer that. Truth for Truth. That's my number one. If y'all haven't heard that, go look that up. Truth or Truth. Truth or Truth. I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Like I don't have a verse on it, but Hammer Dance. Hammer Dance is a crazy ass song.
Crazy.
That's a crazy ass song. I love that song. Hammer Dance, Truth to Truth, and Cut You Loose. Cut You Loose. Produced by Mr. Porter.
That's a tough 3 right there.
Yeah, that's probably my. Those are the ones that stick out in my mind right now. But you know
It could change.
It could change at any given new memory.
Cause offshore. That offshore.
That was like mixtape, right? Wasn't that
Yeah.
mixtape? Okay.
That offshore. I always looked at offshore as almost Truth or Truth Part 2.
Which one was that? What did we say? on
We
that?
was talking a lot of shit on offshore, some real shit. You know what I'm saying?
That was like no hook, right? We
no
were just
hook.
going.
We was just going.
Yeah.
But I know I got Hammer Dance in there. I got Goodbye in there.
Love Goodbye.
You know what I'm saying? it's hard for me because Microphone was like Alchemist
Yeah.
did not fuck around on that beat.
That beat was a classic before we even did anything to it. That was because Marshall spit a freestyle over it.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so it was a classic already.
Right.
And we just came in and just, insert raps here.
Insert raps. It was dangerous, man.
Yeah, I fuck with. Shout out to Al. Shout out to Al and Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter, Al, you know what I'm saying? I mean, all the producers on Glass House, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now. I don't feel like reading the comments. Put Glass House on. I ain't gonna. Moving right along. Yo, it's 2019, man. Are there any albums of the year? Or do you have an album of the year for 2019 that you was just really digging and is one of your personal favorite albums that came out? Or have you been so busy doing what you do, you didn't get a chance to really live with anything like that?
I've been busy, but I have heard albums. I like YB and Corday's album a lot. I love YB and Corday. I love YB and Corday.
That shit was dope.
I think the culture needs to support him because he's 21 years old and he's very enlightened, and that needs to be brought to the forefront,
right,
and kept there.
Yeah, I always, even when he did that joint, kind of like answering J. Cole, I tweeted that joint. You know what I'm saying?
It was perfect.
Yeah, he just did that.
Yeah, YB and Corday, and you know what? I like the Dreamville thing a lot. The compilation that they did.
Right.
The one where they filmed it. They went to Tree Sound. Tree Sound in Atlanta. Shout out my man Groove, Molly.
Groove.
They
Chambers.
They shot that down there. J. Cole, man. I love Cole, man, because he's always doing something progressive. I love hearing whatever he's doing, but also like watching, the way that he presents it and
right.
The little simple things that he does, that separates him
right
from the pack that he kind of came in with.
Yeah, he's one of them ones.
Yeah.
He's one of them ones.
Yeah, so I like watching shit like that, so
he's one of them ones.
The Dreamville joint. We talked about Rhapsody's album.
I really like Rhapsody's album. The presentation of it, the titles. You know what I mean? The artwork. Like, I just think that was an incredible project. Shout out to Rhapsody.
She spoke through that project and said a lot of important things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she put like a lot of important Black women from the lineage of hip hop on a pedestal in different ways, and she stands for a lot of things that fills a lot of voids in today's climate.
Absolutely.
She's absolutely necessary.
She is. That's a queen.
So
straight up. Flat
they all queens. They all queens. But Rhapsody, she kind of stands by herself in that regard. So, we gotta salute her for that.
Definitely, man. I'm not gonna even ask you what the best video was for 2019 because it's Black Savage and Life of a Bandana, you bitches. Flat the fuck out. Like my homie Sloan always say, flat the fuck out. But nah, man, did anything happen in 2019 in the hip hop culture that really stood out to you, like in a good way? Like any moment in 2019, you know what I'm saying?
In a good way?
I'm gonna tell you what stood out to me. This particular person is not a rapper, not a real MC or nothing, but I felt like he was talking to the culture in many ways, saying things the culture need to hear. And it was Byron Allen on The Breakfast Club.
Amen.
I think that was one of the most outstanding moments. And since The Breakfast Club can be technically looked at as a platform for hip hop in the culture, amongst other things, but they definitely speak to the culture. I just feel like that interview he did was one of the illest interviews in the decade. And
I gotta applaud them too. Gotta applaud Charlemagne and them for, like, they asked the right questions.
Right.
They ask the right questions to have that man on that platform.
Yeah.
And
gave the answers.
for him to be that fearless,
Yeah.
I mean, it's inspiring. You know, like it almost brought me to tears. Like at the end when he just was like, "Yo, man, like what can they do to me?" It's like it's the same way I feel. It's
Right.
like it's like you're blackballed already, my G.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not. This is not fair.
Right.
You're not in a fair fight here. You have to
Exactly.
understand what you're looking at first. You know what I mean? Like you're not being allowed financial, economic inclusion. You're not being allowed inclusion.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's systematic racism.
Absolutely.
It's what the country is
It
based
is
on.
what it is.
It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the only way that we can elevate is we have to start taking seats at the table. And you know, my album kind of touches on things, and you'll find, you know, the more you research it and look at it, that you can draw parallels between, you know, the infrastructure of the U.S. government and just the way that the music business is set up.
Right.
It's the same kind of, you know, system, dictatorship or whatever you want to call it, republic, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's put in place to keep black people out of ownership, out of having ownership on a certain level.
Right.
You know, like they'll give us
They got a
predatory, they'll give us predatory capital and then use those people as marketing tools to say, oh, look, you got Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
You can be this,
Right.
but you can't
Right.
because it's a system in place that won't allow you to,
Right.
unless the people who get anywhere near that level stand up and start holding these people accountable. And then the law that's in place that gives us a right to be able to hold them accountable is in question when Byron Allen goes to hold Comcast accountable.
So yeah, man, Byron Allen, bro, like that interview blew my mind, man, and
It blew mine too.
I feel like it was really good for the culture to hear, you know what I mean? Really about, like you said, information and, you know, sharing it. Being the willingness to share information. You know what I mean?
Because it's gonna happen. Like if you're in a position, you're black and you're in a position to elevate, it's inevitable. You're gonna get to a place where you're gonna start seeing things for what they really are. Once you get past all the conflation and all of the, you know, like the marketing and, you know, like the narrative being controlled, and you're able to see things for what they are, you're not gonna like what you see. You know, and it's like a lot of guys in that position, you know, the fear comes back into play. So when you got guys like Byron Allen, this is kind of like fearless, and his actions are just like, yo, plant a tree. I know I won't even be around to enjoy the shade. Like this is for the next year. This is just for my kids. You know, this is like, why should you be able to control everything, every image that my daughter sees of herself on TV growing up?
Right.
Everything. The way that she sees herself and how she builds her confidence and everything is totally controlled by you.
Right.
Why is that like that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it was real deep just watching that, and it's telling.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm looking forward to your album, because I come from the era, where we both do, where hip hop spoke a healthy dosage of truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times people were in fear of the music that was so popular because it was so much truth in the music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And, you know, we divide things in markets. When I say we, I mean the rap game, not us personally, but we divide things in markets. Okay, 17 to 25. You know what I mean? 25 to this. The black community, you know, the casual fan, the pop community, the white community. We divide all this stuff up, and then people say, okay, this record goes across the board for all these markets. This record is only aimed at this market. How do you feel people are going to, when they listen to Allegory for the first time from the intro to the outro, how do you think they're going to take it? How do you think they're going to take it? What do you want them to walk away with?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question. You know, like some people, I want some people to listen to it, younger artists to walk away a little bit more informed. Mm-hmm. And there's a fearlessness there that I would hope would instill some confidence and in the youth as well. A lot of information there. I think certain parts of it will probably put certain people on high notice, you know, like it should add the perspective that's needed every now and then, you know, like just to kind of let's bring it back to reality. Let's really like let's all chill out and let's just look at this for what it is now. This is our culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? So certain things have to happen to remind people, because they're very non-talented people who are just in positions and because of who they're associated with, and you know, like they're just privileged. You know what I mean? And they're like, they treat the artist like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like the artists come in broken, no confidence, no nothing, because how quickly we forget whose culture it is, you know what I mean? And how powerful we are and our words are, you know what I mean? And like our culture took over the world, you know what I mean? Like while every artist is trying to like come in and figure out a way to go from urban rhythmic to pop, like that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like our culture is what's important, like our taste level. There's no better position you can be in than black people loving you. And you're black. That's the best position you could be in. Pop is not like a measuring stick of success in our culture.
Right.
To the art form. Like I don't know a pop artist, and this is no disrespect to pop. I don't even care about pop to even disrespect it. Right. It doesn't matter to anybody. It's like there's no such thing as a pop artist with longevity or a legendary pop artist. That's not even what it's for. So like to like tangle that up with hip hop, you're conflating like a motherfucker.
Right.
Like we gotta disentangle. We gotta disentangle. Some of the shit that's for pop radio, like Flow Rider, Pitbull, that shit is great. That's what they make it for. It's successful. I consider that shit a success. But when I see an artist with everything going for them from an urban standpoint, and I hear people in boardrooms with jobs who are never correct on anything,
right,
ever, use the word urban like it's a fucking, you know, like, no, that's urban.
Right, yeah.
You know, like that's negative. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's urban.
Right.
You know, anything to just minimize the involvement of black people. Well, there's no money in the black community. You gotta, all the money is in.
No, there's a whole lot of money in the black community.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's like 1 trillion. You know, that's like 10,000 billion. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole hell of a lot of money in the black community.
If you just follow Tyler Perry, he still says to this day he's ignored by Hollywood.
That's crazy.
He makes movies for black people. Every single movie for black people. And that's why he's the only one with his own fucking... That shit looked like a whole world that he built in Atlanta.
Right.
That, what do you call it? Like a
movie studio.
Yeah, the studio.
Whatever,
he built his own studio.
Studios and Warner Brother lot in Burbank. He got his own.
Jay-Z has his own building.
Right.
Let's talk about it. If we're gonna talk about it, Jay-Z has his own building.
Right.
Like all of his respective businesses are on each floor. Rock Nation, Tidal. You know what I'm saying? All,
Right.
different floors, all his businesses, but the whole building, my nigga.
We talking G shit right here.
We're talking something that's never been done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Right.
if we're gonna shed the light on something, let's shed the light on some good shit.
Yeah, real talk. No, real talk. And I think these conversations need to be had because, you know, for me, not trying to speak for you, but it's just for us, this is just another day at the office. You know, the conversation. For other people, it's like it might shake them up. You know what I'm saying? Some people might be like, "Oh shit," you know. But I just think these kind of conversations need to be had. We got to communicate, and we got to point out problems before we can get to the solution. If we just try to sweep all the problems under the rug, no solutions will ever exist. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm already knowing from your energy, from this conversation right here, and you know, from what I heard on the album, that you gonna shake some shit up in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part is, like I said, it's like that's what the fuck hip hop is about. Is about truth. You know what I'm saying? Like them kids in New York was telling their truths. They were just telling their truth. They was telling people about their reality. They was telling people about what was going on in their section, you know what I mean? And being raw about it and being unapologetic about it. And, you know, that's what made me fall in love with hip hop, you know?
It's powerful, man. It's the most powerful thing in the world. Like when we create enough pathways to ownership and equity within our culture, I believe you'll see more black billionaires
Right.
than billionaires.
Yeah. I think the next revolution should be economic. You know what I'm saying? We got people like Michael V. Roberts. He's a billionaire, you know. We got people like, you know, Dr. Claude Anderson. We got people like Dr. Boyce Watkins, you know. These people, to me, need to be superstars in the hip-hop culture, too, just as much as Jay-Z and Beyonce, because they're trying to teach, you know, the hip-hop community and our community how to, you know, thrive, not survive, how to thrive economically, you know what I mean? And I just think that's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Allegory. You got a date or?
The allegory,
yeah.
allegory. Yeah, it's I don't know what the date is yet. I'm having just a couple last minute issues that I got to fix like real quick. So late January.
Okay.
Late January. Hopefully no later than February. I'm gonna try and get it out like as soon as possible. My thing is I just want people to hear it. You know, I'm just excited. You know, I produced the whole thing.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, thank you, man. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. I'm excited for people to hear that. And you know, like I'm excited to make something that, you know, that can open up a narrative. That's one of the great things about hip hop, and that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with it, to just be able to listen to something and then it sparks a narrative that, you know, that the actual narrative itself can be classic.
Yeah.
Like Pac and Biggie narrative that's
Yeah.
classic banter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you don't get that in any other genre of music. You know, like we have to like embrace the power, all of the different powers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Nah,
And it's,
I'm with
so
you,
I'm
man.
just yeah, we gotta focus on us, uplift us, and move like that. By any means.
By any means. By any means. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Pac and Biggie, man, rest in peace to them brothers. You know what I mean? Today's show, I'm going to just dedicate this show, you know, to motherfucking real niggas that done passed away. And I say real. When I say real, I'm talking in a whole nother level. You know, to me, taking care of your mom, paying bills for your people you love, and, you know, keeping it real with the young guns out there, not trying to tell them things that's going to put them behind bars, but tell them things that's going to elevate their mindset. To me, that's real. You know what I mean? And we have brothers like that are gone right now. Nipsey Hussle was one. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace to my homie from Long Beach, Badass. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Juice WRLD.
Word.
You know, I'm going to dedicate this show to them And thank you, my brother, for even, opening up your studio.
No, anytime,
allowing
Crook.
us to come through
Anytime, brother.
and getting this great conversation. A lot of
For
jewels
sure,
in
for
there.
sure, for
We in the
sure.
jewelry business. Y'all already know what I say. It's Crooks Corner. Push that subscribe button. You know what I mean? Because we got way more content coming. This is Royce the 5'9". We're in heaven, and you're watching
Heaven
Crooks
Studios.
Corner. Blot out. Deuces.